Yeah! Hello and welcome to this Warno 1v1 game played on Death Row. Today we've got Gucci Gang Hots playing 5 Easy, and he's going up against notmjblair playing 5th Panzer. We will go through the deck reviews, then we'll talk about the map, the matchup, the deployments, and the game. And as always, timestamps in the description. Right, so this is Gucci Gang's deck. He's playing 5e Division Blindy. We won't spend too long on this, simply because I did a deck review of his deck previously, which I'll link in the description. And here it is. And he basically implemented all of my suggestions. So there's not really too much to talk about. So this will be more of an explanation of why certain things are there. So, yeah, 2 cards of supply on 5e. You can get away with it. 5e it doesn't really want long games. It can still win long games because it doesn't really run out of tanks and it doesn't really run out of infantry. And it gets good artillery. So you can bring 3 cards of supply, but 2's fair enough, really. This is one of the best supply. All supply cards bring 6,000 supply, but this is one of the best ones in the game simply because the price is low and it's wheeled and it carries a decent amount of supply. And then this supply helo is a supply helo, right? You can bring 2 trucks if you want, but it can be useful to have a supply helo, I guess, on the bigger maps like 2 ways or something. So it's neither here nor there, really. And then between your CVs, you've got... so the other CVs are all tracked. So you need a wheeled CV. It's preferable to have a wheeled CV so that you're not too far behind on points. Ultimately, the case could be made that, well, I'm either going to be, 100 points behind or I'm going to be 200 points behind. So what difference does it make? I suppose it's a peace of mind thing. It's also the highest availability CV of the 3. This is tracked for 60 points, and if you're firing your gun with this CV with its 3 armor, then you're probably about to not be alive. You're about to be unalived, as they say in Roblox. This is the dad helicopter, apparently. CV helicopters are bad. And then this is a 2 availability one, which in some cases can be useful, with it having, more HP and more armor, but it doesn't have smoke, which is a big shame, really, and doesn't really help you at all. So, if it had smoke, you could make the case that this could be useful, because like 7 CVs or 6 CVs, sacrifice 1 availability to get some smoke, or get more survivability on what you do bring, but it doesn't have smoke, so there's not really much point. Don't bring a fob. So infantry, we've got chasseurs at so the concern I had with his deck last time was that he didn't have enough infantry. So if you look at the previous one, you see that he has added an additional card of infantry in exchange for the Milans there. So yeah, he's got plenty of infantry. So chasseurs at 2 vet is yeah, I mean you might find yourself running out in longer games because you've only got 8 as opposed to 12. There's a big difference. But the chasseurs are a very strong squad because they've got the DMR. DMR's like 2 machine guns. Machine guns like 2 rifles. So this is 3 machine guns, which is 6 rifles. So they fight with the strength of 12 men for 50 points. The LRAC's a very good rocket launcher because of the suppression. It means that you tend to rout targets. Obviously, the pen isn't very good, but the range is 750 and the accuracy is very high. So it's a very nice rocket launcher. And then you've got Group Anti-Char, which have an even nicer rocket launcher, the Appalachian, with very high pen, capable of one-shotting 7 armor targets. So that's the side armor on most heavy tanks. And yeah, they get 2 of them. It can be useful to have these guys and send them around to the sides and stuff. You can actually do without them simply because the LRAC's actually not so bad. And because of how powerful infantry AT is, there's actually very few times you get to use it because people don't send their vehicles into where the infantry should be. But it is useful. You can send it around the side to, blow up some transports and whatnot, and you can turn off 1 Appalachian. In team games, it can be good. Like I played a game against Yukipor, I was with Fortitude Fence, and we were against Yukipor on Blitz War. It was part of the FOB 2v2 tournament, and Yukipor kept smoking the corner of our zone to get a CV in. And so I would run in a group anti-char, and then whatever vehicle came in is gonna not be there anymore. Whereas with an LRAC, it'll survive the first shot, smoke and retreat, or just retreat because it's already in the smoke. With an Apolas, they tend to not see the light of day again. With the transports, the Vab Milan can be useful because it's got a Milan and a 50 cal for 40 points. It's got bad stealth, which is a negative, but it can be useful. Then Grenadier Voltigeurs Apolas, which... So this is why sometimes you can do without the group anti-char. But, it depends on the map. If you're playing two ways, this is really good. I absolutely love water. You should always stay hydrated. I've been loving water for a long time, but ever since, what was it, like April? No, was it March? I think it was March to April. Anyway, I'm a big water enjoyer now. So Grenadiers, Voltigeurs, Apolas, they have the Apolas, but they're more expensive because they're also a combat squad with 10 strength. The other choice are these guys, who are like the Chasseurs, but more cracked because they're the same thing but with 2 more strength. But then the counter argument is, well, I've already got the Chasseurs, so what do I need Chasseurs extra for, right? In the standard Vab, I prefer the Vab to the truck because the Vab's got a 50 cal, and it's fast, it does stuff. It's actually a pretty useful combat vehicle. Whereas the truck, yeah, you would sell it and get your money back, but I think this is worth having, really. Gives you momentum for, because you guys get there, and then when they start fighting, this is helping straight away, whereas this can't help until it gets back to the base, gets sold and turned into something else. And then, yeah, commandos in the Super Puma are so useful. Just having that helicopter ability. You can do openers where you just open with a couple of these and secure ground early. That's certainly something I've done a lot. They're a very good squad anyway because of the special forces and the shock, and the 2 machine guns which fire on the move. 5.56 is better at firing on the move. This does shoot within the same building, so you can really get on top of people and wound them. And then Milan 2 in the AMX-10P Milan. So this is an IFV with a Milan with 3 armor. So this is more like a warrior, basically, except it's cheaper and better. Well, okay, it's just cheaper, but it's not better. I'll just show you. AMX-10P... AMX... They have multiple things called AMX. The French are so silly-billy, right? Because it's called AMX-10 because it weighs 10 tons. Right, so guess what? This weighs the same. That's really smart, isn't it? Then again, I come from a country where they used to call things, Lee Enfield, okay? And then now they call things L119A2. So there you go. So the AMX-10P Milan for 10 points less has a slightly... It is a worse autocannon. It's a little bit slower, and it doesn't have the MMG. It has 1 less side armor, but it's very worth it. It's very worth it to have this thing. Sadly, it only comes on the no, this is my deck. It only comes on the IFE, right? The alternative is more Vab Milans for sort of this. It's faster but less tanky, whereas this could usually survive a shot and continue to Milan people. Also carries more. So it's up to you, right? Or you can bring it in this because it tends to be that this is going to a place where, it's being used defensively, and so you don't necessarily need a unit with you straight away, and so then you can just go sell this, right? Whereas, yeah, I don't know, it depends if you want to get there fast or you want to get there and do a bit more damage. Getting there fast is, you've got this, so doesn't matter. And yeah, you want that at no vet. I'm just surprised these are at 2 vet. I mean, to be honest, if you're playing games and you're not running out of infantry, then yeah, start upvetting it. That's obvious. And there should always be a 1 vet by minimum for combat infantry. For this, it should be at no vet because if it's being shot at, it should be running away on account of it having 2 HP. And it shouldn't be standing and fighting, so you don't need the suppression resistance, which is the main benefit of veterancy, right? stress recovery, and stress resistance. Artillery, so this is a very good howitzer. I think it is the best howitzer, I think, in the game. And yeah, sadly it doesn't have its smoke launchers for some reason. This is also not a real bullet. It shouldn't have this, but anyway, yeah, a one vet, because basically there won't be anywhere else to spend this 1 point, so that's why that's upvetted, and you don't need more than 2 howitzers in a 1v1. There is one guy who's actually pretty good. He's like ranked like 30 or something. And he's where is he? Where is he? Might have dropped a bit. I don't know, I'm pretty tired. I might have just gone past him. He's called Logi, and he basically slows the game right down, buys 4 arty pieces, and spends the whole game artying you. And he's like, oh, that's weird. Doppelganger. And, you know, he's pretty highly ranked, but I tend to win against him, which means his strat is bad. But then when people win against me, I say, well, that doesn't mean the strat is bad. So, yeah, whatever. It can be done. I don't recommend it. Yeah, then mortars for smoke, and it should be the self-propelled one, so that it so basically you can get this in the VAB, and then it can be a self-propelled mortar for the same price, right? And it's higher caliber, but I mean, and it's one more availability. But this is just so much easier to manage, and your micro is a resource. Your micro is a resource, and if you can spend a few more points to make your micro, this is actually more expensive, 17. If you spend points to make less micro, that's a good investment in my eyes. Anyway, CV tanks, you tend to end up with them in this tab simply because these are 3-pointers and these are actually quite cheap slots with it being a tank division and all. So yeah, CV tanks, and then the Brennus, which is the best one at 1 vet. It's very, very cost efficient at 145. It's a bit silly, really. And then a bunch of AMX-30B2s at 2 vet. So this is quite a popular strat because you still get 3 of them. You know, it depends. Like, so it's just the argument from before. If you need more tanks, next game you go into, down vet 1 of them. And then you're still opening with the stronger ones, and if it goes late, then you go to 1 vet, right? And if you still need more, you down vet another one, right? Anyway, then we got two ATGMs. This thing's really good because at 3 armor, it can usually survive a shot at max range from a tank, enemy tank, unless it's something like a Leopard 2A4C or D or whatever, the good one, and or the better one. And so it usually survives the hit, and then it's hot 2 hits, and then it smokes and leaves. So this is designed to take a hit, whereas this is designed to not take a hit, but it's faster and it's got good stealth. It's designed to not be seen, so they have different roles. But you know, you can use them. You can put this in a defensive position, right? It's just this is cheaper and so a bit more useful, but this has more range, right? Recon. So yeah, I do this as well. I just bring them both at 1 vet, I think. I might have actually gotten rid of one of them. Because if you spend all your deployment on AMX 10 RCs, then you tend to lose. But yeah, this is like the most annoying unit in the game. With 4 armor, it can usually survive a hit, and the enemy tank can't see it because it's got mediocre stealth, and you can see everything because you've got very good optics, and the gun on it is ridiculous, 19 pen. This is an imaginary bullet as well, because these can't fire the same ammunition, because this is like a low pressure round or something, I don't know. Anyway, Dragon Paras in the VLRA 50, yes, this is something we spoke about in the last deck review as well. This is slower. The same thing with a 50 cal is faster because, yeah, and there's no point of vetting it because you only get 2, and this isn't a Special Forces transport, so it doesn't get faster if you upvet this. Like, Special Forces get faster if you upvet them, but this isn't actually a Special Forces transport. Eclairs in the Alouette. Yeah, I mean, you can do that if you want. I mean, I guess for the early game, you've got this to secure ground as a wheeled thing, and this to secure ground as a wheeled thing. So it can be useful. I mean, you've got this here. It's not a really big deal. You can do whatever. You know, it's that or this, which I suppose is sort of a bit of an overlap in comparison. Later on in the game, you actually get your money back on these helicopters faster. and they can also be useful for just scouting with their face, as in you unload this and then you just go send the helicopter to just run along a tree line. It's not got a very wide range of viewing with its only mediocre optics compared to this very good, but you get a lot more of them and it's, cheap. It's not actually as cheap as this, but you get more of them, and if it dies once you've dropped these off, you don't really care, and you can get a lot of information for 35 points, so it can be very useful actually. The other things is so for your tanks, you can get one of these with the very good or exceptional optics, but it's not really worth it when you can do the same with these. You can put this with your tanks, and then you've got very good optics with your tanks, right? AA, so Roland 3, Roland 2, Minstrel. So the Minstrel, I spoke about how it's good to bring it in the VABT 2013 last time. He was bringing it in the P4, now he's bringing it in this. And the reason why is that this is a useful spag. I mean, it's decent against helicopters, right? It's not that good against infantry. It's just useful to have the smoke and the AA gun. It's reasonably cheap, right? I mean, for 20, obviously this will sell, but it is nice to have this. And then if you're not bringing 6, then you upvet it to have 4. And then the Roland 2s, so it's either this or the DCA or whatever. I prefer Roland 3s because they are better. It's just their radar, and so they can get seeded. Whereas the Roland 2, okay, when it's upvetted, the accuracy is the same, but the range is significantly less, so the accuracy is actually less. It can't one-shot a Lynx, whereas the Roland 3 can. And the aim time's worse. Yeah. I mean, it's a different thing, right? Also, this should have smoke on it as well. But yeah, then this thing is just not good, and this is a spag anyway. Spags are useful against helicopters because the enemy basically has to immediately react to it, or he dies. Whereas with a minstrel, if you miss him and your enemy's paying attention, he'll just kill you because he's like, well, I've got 10 seconds, so he shoots me again, so I'll just yonder over there, right? Wander over there. The alternative, right, would be to get rid of this, downvet this, get rid of this. Now you've got 2 points, and now you can get not much really. You could get an extra helicopter. It's probably not worth it. Let's just put that back in. What was the other one? The RT. Helicopters. So last time, yeah, these at 2 vet is actually hilarious because they get a lot better. Look. This is the chance of it hitting once in 10 rounds. And look at how it changes. Okay, it just basically doubles, and the aim time goes down, and you don't need more than 4 of them. You basically just send 2 out at the start, and you just you vibe check the enemy's AA. Right, if he's not got any, you kill his whole deployment. I've seen these things beat Razvedka BMP2s. Anyway, Gazelle Hot 2 if the enemy has breakthroughs. The alternative is a Gazelle Hot 1, which isn't as good. The one on the left would one-shot a 8 armor vehicle, and the one on the right would one-shot a 10 armor vehicle. 10 armor vehicle would be like an M60, I guess. Air tab, so this is your anti-helo. It can be upvetted if you want. I don't really think it's worth it, to tell you the truth. I'd always much rather have an extra fighter, just because this is just RNG, and you're increasing your odds. But you increase your odds a lot more if you have an extra plane. Anyway, this is for actually trying to fight people, but the missile ranges aren't great, but it's super duper fast. Jaguar, this is like a really, really good bomber, because it dive bombs, so you can actually one-shot heavy tanks with this if you get a little bit lucky. This is incredibly useful because of the high pen and the fact that it comes at 3 availability, so it's just the same argument again. I would prefer this at 1 vet, but I mean, you're getting 6% accuracy, and it's basically ECM, evasive maneuvers. It is a bit better than ECM, but I don't know. I just end up dying anyway, and then I'm like, well, why did I bother upvetting it? So I don't agree with that. And then the Mirage F cluster, I really don't think is very good. I prefer. Oh, you can literally just get another one of these. Or you can get like a seed thing or something. I don't know. It's not a big deal. So hopefully I didn't skip between, because he had two decks, so I hope I covered the right one. Yeah, I think I did. Switching to his opponent, we've got notmjblair playing 5th Panzer Division. I've been playing this a lot lately, actually. I don't think it's bad, but I don't think it's OP. So we'll go into it tab by tab. So for starters, we've got 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 CVs, which is kind of absurd to tell you the truth. You don't really need 9 CVs. So wouldn't you rather have 3 cards of supply? It's up to you, right? Like, but you could get rid of this and save yourself 2 AP, or you could get rid of one of these and save yourself 1 AP. So probably better to get rid of the 2-1 and get a 3rd card of supply, right? I mean, it's personal preference. Most of the deck is actually very similar to how I build it, a few exceptions. So yeah, 2 cards of supply here. I prefer 3. Also, right, I mean, 9, at that point, you should definitely be getting rid of this and replacing it with this, because for 5 points more, you get smoke and more survivability against artillery, and then you've still got 8 CVs, so certainly something to think about. And then, yeah, this is, fast and unarmored. This is, like, slow and armored, but they're the same price. You might as well bring this one. This does carry more, but this is a very useful supply just because it's so... You don't really care if it dies because you got 12 of them. This is one you got to keep a bit more safe, right? But it's more cost efficient. Infantry, so Milan 2, and once again, no vet, as we spoke about. Yeah, so this is the VAB Milan equivalent, except it's better because it costs 5 points less, and it's got more Milans, and it's got smoke. So, hello, French suffers? French suffers? What's this nonsense? Eugen, please. So, yeah, I mean, having an MG3 is not as good as a 50 cal, I'll admit, but having smoke more than makes up for it. And it has it costs less. There's something the smoke alone just makes it worth more than the bad Milan. So it's got more Milans as well. Anyway, that's interesting, isn't it? This game is so anti-French. There's so much French bias. So yeah, you should definitely be bringing it in this, given how ridiculously good it is for the price. I don't think I've been doing that actually. Wow. No, I have. Oh, I'm so smart. Then we've got Panzer Grenadier spam in the Marder 1A2 Milan. I don't think you need 4 cards of this, really. So, and the rest of this tab is basically just like mine. So yeah, this should be like this. I don't think you need 4 of these. If you really insist, then you might as well 2-vet them, right? Basically, you can buy these at a rate of 3 per minute. So 4, 8, 12, 16. You can do that for 5 minutes. 2, 4, 6, 8 minutes. So, I mean, do you really want to just be buying Marder 1A2 Milans for 8 minutes? I mean, maybe. But I find that you can get away with having 3 cards at 18. And if, you might as well start vetting some of these. And if you run out of infantry one game, well, next game, have that at 1 vet. You go in, play it for the next 40-minute game you play. Oh, man, I wish I'd had more infantry. 1 vet. Right, and so the first ones coming out are always going to pack the strongest punch. Just something to keep in mind. But yeah, they shouldn't really be having so many, I think. And then Pioneer Carl Gustav is good, so I used to bring the Panzer Grenadier Carl Gustav, but basically you want it for the Carl Gustav. And it's kind of hard to use that if you've only got 6 strength, because you tend to just die. And this is actually a pretty decent anti-infantry squad, and this doesn't come in a wheeled transport. And this is, it's got a worse gun than the VAB, but the smoke really does make it, in my opinion. And it's cheaper than the VAB, even though it's got... Interesting. Wow, this German stuff's really... I mean, this should be 5 points more expensive, and this should be 5 points more interesting. Anyway, yeah, I think that's fine on 1 vet. And then the Zickerung's just for padding. The way I've done it is... So I got rid of 1 card of Marder 1A Milan and I put the Pioneers in because you really are going to struggle in the close quarters combat as this div. for a few reasons. One is that 7.62 rifles are worse than 5.56 rifles, and this isn't the best MG ever either, because so 7.62 belt fed, whereas 7.62 is better for machine guns, but magazine fed's better than belt fed. They've only got one. The main advantage is that there's 10 of them, so they fight with the strength of 11 men, right? But when you look at the French squads, they're fighting with the strength of like 13, 16, whatever, 13 or something. So yeah, I think I like leaving these at one vet, getting rid of one of these, and bringing a pioneer. Yeah. RT tab. So I speak about this a lot. I now bring the Mars and a card of these at no vet, and this mortar. But basically, this is the same gun as the M109, but it's cheaper. It is 75 points cheaper, which is the price of one of these. So for the low price of one of these, you can get an artillery piece that, if you use it properly, is immune to counter battery. Or you can bring this, right? Get your one extra. Get this, right? And in exchange for your one extra Pioneer Carl Gustav in the Fox, you have to babysit this all game, and then you forget about it once and it dies. And you got to micro it constantly, because you got to tell it to load back up and move, load back up and move. This, you just got to tell it to move, shoot and move. And there's a bug, which means that these constantly don't do what you tell them to do. You tell it to load it up and move, and it'll shoot, load it up, and it won't move sometimes. And I thought I had a workaround, but then a patch came out, and maybe it just never worked, but I found that the workaround doesn't actually work all the time. So yeah, you go get your 2 extra Pioneer Carl Gustavs, and in exchange, you've got to spend 40 minutes babysitting these, so I don't think it's a good idea, really. So I used to bring this, right? Then I tried the Lars 2, which is garbage. Don't try it. In like a team game, it can sort of work if you're playing across a narrow front, but it is really not very good. And then I was doing this, and now I bring this down vetted and this, and there's a case to be made for like upvetting this. But yeah, I think this is sort of, the hubris of man, essentially. The hubris of man cat 6x6. Oh, I can micro. Yeah, maybe. But if you're microing this, you're not microing something else. You're not microing that Pioneer Carl Gustav you just bought, which is dead now, and you still have to deal with this for the rest of the game. And then anyway, mortars for smoke, and the self-propelled one's better, and this should have smoke on it because there's the smoke. Tank tab, so this is the Leopard 2A4C, which we were speaking about before. It's got high pen, 21 kinetic, so it's armor plus kinetic plus 8. So, what? No. It's armor plus 8 plus HP. So 18 plus armor is 3 for an AMX-10. It's 21. So this will one-shot an AMX-10P, the IFV one, at max range. Why the kinetic 21 pen isn't the same as the heat 21 pen, nobody's ever been able to explain to me, right? Why they would have different formulas, I don't know. But basically, tank gun number not as good as heat number. So, that's 25. But this 22 is better than this if this was 22. So yeah, these are good against IFVs, and then you got to make sure your AA's out first, because you don't get many of them. And then, yeah, 1 vet, and then Leopard 2s, okay. And then 2 cards of Leopard 1A5 command. I guess the idea here is to try and play a momentum game, where you buy Leopard 1A5s and Leopard 1A1s, and you try and play the early game. This div is not conducive to that play style. If you want to do that, you should play 2nd Panzergren, because you get more Leopard 1s, and you get, more AA, and, forward deploy. Well, you get more planes, better planes, forward deployment, so you can play a more aggressive early game. This div is built around its late game, so you're sort of trying to put a square peg in a round hole here. I mean, you can do it. It'll probably work a lot of the time, but there's just a better way of playing that strategy. Whether or not there's a better way of playing this div, that's up to you. But I personally just bring infinite Leopard 2A3s. I bring one card of Leopard 1A5s. I don't bother with this, but this can be useful. Basically, you bring them at 2 vet, and you bring them mostly at the start, and you do get a lot of value out of it. But yeah, this has been purchased so it can be cheap, I suppose. But you've already got lots of cheap ones here, so I don't really see the point of this. They're just going to die. You can't really use them to fight. So at the very least, I'd be swapping one of these out for like that. But the alternative would be to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, where you can just bring a regular tank. But yeah, this is just the same, but same availability, but 50 points more. Whatever. I mean, you do you. And then Jaguar 2, 25 pen, 6 armor. It's like the AMX 10 hot on the other side, but better because it can survive a lot. Although Conkers will one-shot it. That's something you need to keep in mind. Conkers will one-shot the side armor on this as well, and this. That is a big problem with these tanks, is that they're very maneuverable, but they're very vulnerable to side shots from Conkers. Notmjblair, really good unit now that they've got the anti-tank, 6 strength, SF, ground surveillance radar. This is not an SF transport, so there's no point in upvetting them, like the commandos on the other side. And then Jäger Aufklärer. This is not good, don't bring that. And they're at 1 vet, so they can be used in combat as a combat squad. Do I do that? I should do. No. That's a bit silly of me. I'm not sure why. Interesting. Well, I've learned something today. And then, yeah, the looks for shooting people. And then even more infantry recon. So lots of infantry recon going around here. I think instead of this, I've got the racist. No, I think I've just got 4 more looks. So that I can shoot lots of people with these things, and so I can claim I will send them around the sides, and then I never actually do it. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, you've got 8 recon inf at high HP. Do you need 6 more? Maybe you do. And these are at no vet because presumably they're not supposed to be in combat. And between these, if you want to send this around the sides, this is a better option. Alternatively, you can bring this in the recon helo, in the not recon helo, because you don't have any helicopter guys, and so that provides you a new capability. This is 5 points more than the other one, but it's got 2 more HP, than the one the French get. And then you can send it around the sides. But yeah, if you want to send it around the sides, this is also very useful because it's got good autonomy and high speed, which also makes it go faster through forests. Whereas this, yeah, you'll get your money back, but slower. And I believe it runs out of fuel faster. Well, I'm not sure, actually. I don't understand why there's 2 numbers there. Yeah, but I think I just bring 8 looks, and then I send the looks around the side. So I've got enough recon infantry. Although, no, I think this might actually be a really good idea. I'm going to try that. Wow, I'm learning so much today. Because I do find that when I'm pushing, I don't have enough recon. And I tend not to bring more than 4 of these. When I originally put them in the deck, I was like, because I'm going to do that funny thing Skiffic does, where he just runs a bunch of these all over the place, and it's really pleasant to deal with. But yeah, there you go. Wow, we're all learning from each other today. Wow, incredible. AA, so Roland 3, Roland 2's Villinger. I do Roland 3, Gepard's Villinger. I don't know, it's up to you really. AA on this div is kind of a weak point. You don't have any Eyehawks, right, like the Dutch get. This is, sometimes it just misses everything. Certainly had a few games on a channel like this. As with the French div, it's like, well, are you really bringing 10 of these? Maybe you should upvet this by 1. And then there's Villinger's anti-infantry. You bring this for anti-infantry, it literally wins forest fights. It's hilarious. The enemy runs up to you in a forest and you just immediately stun him. And he's like an infantry squad, and yeah. But yeah, I prefer the Gepard over the Roland, simply because the Roland 2, because this is my AA piece and this is my anti-helo, and that this is anti-infantry. It's not really very good against helicopters. It can be used against helicopters, but it's like a landmine, right? If they fly over it, it'll get you, but otherwise, it's not like you're moving into him, because this is actually pretty decent against helicopters. But yeah, at the very least, I'd be upvetting that by 1. Helos, so yeah, this is just like the ones on the other side, so hot 2 instead of hot 1. And then air, so yeah, I mean, it's really quite similar to mine, but I suppose there's not really many ways to build a div. But I could just say, well, everybody's copying me. There's not really many ways to build a div. Um, so yeah, 2 cards of fighters, rocket plane because it's 3. Some guy asked me, I thought rocket planes were bad. They are, but this is 155 and this is 240 and this is 275. This is 275 and it's 3 availability and it reloads in 32 seconds. So even though the payload is obviously not as good as this, it's just way more useful because you can buy it in the first minute. If it dies, no problem, you got 2 more, and it'll reload. If it doesn't get wounded, it will reload really fast. And so you just keep sending it out until they buy some AA. And then this is your anti-tank, which is, is pretty lackluster, but especially given that the French one on the other side is 3 per card and is just better, it really does make you think. But hey, there were those things with the Foxes before. So with that out of the way, let's talk about the map, the matchup, the deployments, and the game. And as always, timestamps in the description. Right, so with that out of the way, let's talk about the map. Death Row, bit of an imbalanced one. Red has it a bit easier, quite a bit easier, because basically Red gets this much of alpha at the start, which means Blue has to fight over here. And here in Blue's zone, Red actually gets to this first. And this is nice cover, really. It's actually better than this side. So the zones in the middle are a little bit imbalanced. Now that's counteracted by the fact that Blue has an easier time attacking into Charlie, because he can hide behind this building, whereas Red, there's a big gap here. Red does have a harder time dealing with this. And Blue's position in middle is not so bad if you consider this kind of axis here. Because they get this tree line, they can cover all this. And there should be something here, but, you can smoke this, run across and blow them up and what have you. And the guys here can't shoot you while you're running across this this field here with your infantry or whatever. So there are ways around it. But in general, I do believe Red has an easier time. Now, in terms of the matchup, 5E versus 5PZ, 5 easy versus 5 PZ. The French div is generally regarded as better overall. But that's because of its mobility. So this tank, for example, wow, it's wheeled. It's got ankles apparently, and it's fast. It's got mediocre stealth. It's designed to obviously get there first and be annoying, but it's designed for its mobility, and it basically all is on the French side. Like, look how fast this is. For some reason, this is actually one of the slower vehicles that the French get. Must be a balance thing, because like, look, this is 90. This is 90. Is that 2 CVs? Wow. Okay, this one should be at what? We're skipping ahead here. So basically, France wants to use its superior mobility, and this is a problem a lot of people have with this division. They say, oh, it's not OP because I ran at my enemy and he beat me. Well, that's because you're not playing to the divisional strength. So when people tell me, I'm a new player, what div should I play? You shouldn't play 5 easy, because even though it is an S tier broken division, it's difficult to play properly. You can play it improperly and still go really, really far with it because of how busted it is, but it's supposed to be a mobility div. Here, 5th Panzer, the way 5th Panzer is played is that it is not a mobility div. I mean, you can move like a blob around with 5th Panzer. You can have a roving blob, but because their tanks are actually pretty fast as well. Their stuff's reasonably quick as well, Not as fast, but, it's reasonably quick. The Leopard 2s are quite fast. But 5th Panzer doesn't get long-range ASFs and doesn't get long-range AA, as you'll know from the deck review, which we just get. You didn't just get. And so this div wants to fight along quite a narrow front, especially in comparison to this div. And then what you can do with this div is fight along a narrow front and then move everybody back, rotate them round, and fight along another narrow front. So because it's still got the kind of mobility aspect, because the Leopards are quite fast and they've got good motion accuracy and so on. But this is like perfect for 5th Panzer, because the enemy the enemy A, your AA deficiencies are more than made up for by the fact that the map is 2 meters wide. so it's kind of hard for people to get around you and bomb your tanks or whatever, which are quite susceptible to that. So I think the map favors 5th Panzer, But overall, 5 easy is on the good side and is generally the stronger div. And the bigger the map, the better this is going to be by comparison. But this is literally the smallest map. So I think 5th Panzer's got a very good chance here. Let's talk about the deployments. So we've got regular Aufklärer going to here. I don't think that's going to make it, actually. I think you have to unload that here to stop this AMX-10 from killing you. We'll see. It's been this map used to basically be one of the only maps, and so people got quite used to it. It's been deforested, though. That was a very... Let's complain about that later. Then we've got Aufklärer going to here. Yeah, they should get there. Fernschwer, which starts further forwards because it's got airborne forward deployment. Much like the Dragon Paras on the other side, which we don't see any of. So they're going to try and get to here. And behind that we've got a Lux. And behind that we've got a Recon Helo. Behind that we've got an AT Helo with a jet defending the various helicopters. Then we've got a Leopard 2A3, 2 Marder 1A2 Milans, and a Leopard 1A5 Command with no AA. And on the left we've got 2 Marder 1A2 Milans and a Leopard 1A1 with no AA. So he's relying on the fighter. Okay. I think that's a misplay, really. I think he should have opened 2 Roland 3s and just played it slow. But looks like he wants to, sort this out as fast as possible. But if we talk about it all now, we won't have anything to talk about when the game starts. So, Jäger Aufklärer going down here. So, 3 different kinds of recon, all with their utility. I mean, this is a higher HP squad than either of these, and so it can do more fighting. So presumably he's going to move it down here and aim to shoot whoever's in here for a bit, and hopefully win that fight with his 9 HP. And then a tracked CV for this, and yeah, tracked CV for this. Switching to his opponent's deployment, we got 2 Mirage 3Es out, and as you know from the deck review, which he didn't skip, he's upvetted them. So these are his only 2. You should have 3 per card, but he's gone for 2 per card. And then we've just got AMX-10 opener. So 1 down every road. Very difficult to deal with. This one really should be coming to here. But yeah, there works as well. But yeah, here's good because you shoot them as they're here. And like the guys coming for these buildings and stuff, you can sort of mess them up. I don't know, whatever. And then for Recon Helo Eclairs. So this is sort of what you would usually use the commandos for, but this is going to be cheaper. It's just this is a slower helicopter. It's got less HP, which is why he's defending it with the Mirages. So he aims to take some pretty aggressive early positions here, actually. So this one is, he's going to basically see you drop in there and then shoot you, but I get the idea. This is very, very aggressive. This one is very, very aggressive. And this one is slightly aggressive, but not that aggressive. The issue with having an opener like this is, so like these are really expensive, and then these are quite expensive, so you don't actually have that much following it up, but your stuff's quite fast, so you can reinforce reasonably quickly, and then 2 CVs. This one should be on this road. If you want to send it to Charlie, it'll get there faster, right? And then you can send it up to Echo this way. And you got to watch out here, because if he's got something here, he will shoot you, so you got to make sure you just like, ooh. And then this one, yeah, this one's going that way, and you got to make sure, you're going to be revealed here. It's just something to keep in mind. You can slow down a bit and come this way. And then a P4 Milan on this side, which is fulfilling the same role as the MX-10 RC, but okay, whatever. And then 2 Minstrels to defend over here. Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Right, so they're off, and it's time to thank the generous channel joiners, generously joining the channel. They get the names on the screen, they get the videos early, get members exclusive videos. And because notmjblair here has decided to bring literally 0 AA, these 2 can just dive everything and kill him. So as soon as he saw these 2, he should have evac'd and landed this. Because he doesn't have long range AA. Now, for Gucci Gang, that was very risky, just sort of assuming the AA wasn't there. If he was playing against me, he would have ran slap bang into 2 Rolands, backed up by a CV, which would just be with him anyway, because it's going the same way. So, that was quite risky. Anyway, this Eclairs is probably dead. Definitely dead. And the Jäger Aufklärer gets taken out by the Sublinde. Over here, the Aufklärer got taken out by the race car. So I'm just going to call these race cars from now on because otherwise you get the AMX-10 confused between the IFV and the race car. So Gucci Gang, very, very convincing opener. MJ Blair's now bought his AA. And yeah, he lost a fighter. All the enemy healers got in, and he lost his AT helo. So this, this could be here, right? And then it can shoot across, but whatever. And that was just sort of hanging out, so that's dead now. Yeah. So Gucci Gang, he could have moved these up, right? And now what he needs to do is get some wheel. He needs to get some wheeled infantry in. But instead what he's done is he's realised, well, there's no AA here, so I can buy the AT plane, and you'll see the effect of this 2 veterancy here as it actually does hit. I was sort of hoping it would miss so I could laugh about it. But no, it hit there. And so, okay, so he's got value out of this already, actually, so maybe it did make sense. Usually you don't want to overinvest in planes at the start, especially when you're so thin on the ground, but he recognised from flying over everything, oh man, this guy actually opened with no AA. And he's just sort of hanging out. So, yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. This is obviously not particularly intelligent either, so everybody making mistakes today. And this should have been moved up to here. This can go up to here. These two should have been deployed in these buildings. At the very least should be moving up. And, okay, so now he's buying infantry, but he's gone for the tracked ones. So they're going to take longer to get there. MJ Blair, he's like, well, look, I'm still heavier on the ground, and, my esteemed opponent literally just bought 10 quadrillion planes, so I should be alright. This should have smoked. Okay, it survives, although it missed that a bunch of times. This guy was hiding behind that so that he could ambush the enemy stuff. He missed all his rockets and died. This should have been here, really. These would be dead, and this is why this one should have been here as well. Could have got a shot out earlier. Regardless, his opponent is not respecting the fact that he doesn't have control over this zone. AA's been purchased now 3 in a row, which has really killed Blue's momentum, but what choice does he have? He's going to keep losing stuff to bombers. And yeah, another thing you can do is you can reinforce quickly with helo infantry, so they sell faster and so on. FRF AT purchase, so I don't know, that's not really something you want to buy when you're behind. So this should smoke, really, but it doesn't, and it survives anyway. But then so does this, which is probably going to come back around for another shot. This is routed. This doesn't have sidewinders. And yeah, you need some infantry in there. What you can do with these Mirages is get baited over the enemy Roll 3s, which have just shown up. And okay, so he's just going for it. And you see, yeah, basically when you're 2-vet, you get this additional ECM, which doesn't matter because you just die anyway. This missed because it was on an attack move order, which meant that as soon as it left the range, it lost tracking. But yeah, pretty convincing turnaround from MJ Blair here, basically because Red bought too many planes and stuff like that. Also spread himself a little bit too thin, made a couple micro blunders. So this will probably die now. I can't release it because it's got less armor than this. This wants to be at high range, really. It will aim first, apparently, and they kill each other. They unalive each other. Yeah, commandos, yeah, shoot on the move, as we spoke about, etc., etc. And these chasseurs, they took way too long to get there because he could have bought the wheeled ones instead, right? Also, he could have bought that Gazelle Hot 2 a lot sooner. That was a really good idea because, yeah, the AA hadn't arrived, and so that could have been the first thing out instead of the AT plane. Although the AT plane got massive value, actually. He got 2 tanks out of it. It is still a plus 4 to Gucci Gang, but that's about to turn around when this gets in here. It is being sent the get shot in the face way. I suppose he's quite confident in his Roll 3s. This misses this time. It's 2-vet, and it gets hit anyway. So this just don't upvet your planes. Unless you've literally got 8 fighters and you want 7 fighters, don't upvet your planes. I mean, maybe you're a gambling man. I'm not. So maybe it can work for you, but I just don't think it's a good idea. Because look at that. He had 2 Mirages upvetted. They both got hit by the Rolands. He had a Jaguar AT upvetted. It got hit by the first thing that shot at it. So, it's not fantastic. Anyway, you see the power of these chasseurs, the LRAC, as we were speaking about. And, yeah, so I'd say actually that Blue's winning at the moment because Red is just so thin on the ground. From his... Right, so this was massive overinvestment in Gazelle Hot 2, especially now that the AA has shown up. You could have got 1 here near the start, and then like, 1 on this side, whatever. The Gazelle cannon, why not? So this is a problem. This can't actually see that for some reason. Or okay, it might be able to see it, but it can't shoot it. Bit of a miss micro there, just letting that die. And yeah, once you get to here, it gets kind of hard for blue to sort that out. These guys trying to push, but they've not got backup really, and the Gazelle Hots are beginning to not survive. Yeah, so Eclairs have been spotted by the Beaupart. This like double gang here didn't really do him any favors. What he could have done as well is like, okay, so I'm up to here now. I know all this is free. You can actually move these up to here. The issue, of course, is you're exposing yourself to enemy planes, but you're doing that anyway when you're back here because you don't actually have any AA. The Eclairs are getting picked off there. The Commandos are, you know, a bit exposed, and it looks like Blue's going to take back Foxtrot there. So, you know, Red, he had a really, really strong lead, and then I think he just bought too many planes. The Jaguar AT, he got a lot of value out of it, to be honest. But, yeah, I think he bought too many planes. And then he started buying tracked stuff, and by the time it arrived, he'd lost the zone. So, yeah, it's difficult. I mean, he could have, instead of buying the you know, the Jaguar AT, that ended up being a good purchase because it literally got 2 tanks, and one of them was a CV, although the opponent has 9 CVs, as you know from the deck review. Minstrels are no good when the enemy flies directly over you like that. Manpads in general, they just can't aim. But, yeah, I don't know. If you're Red in this situation now, you know... Right, well, that was kind of dumb. I mean, he saw them the first time. You should know that they're minstrels because they have to be. This can, you know... Like, this is why being up here is so much more useful. It would shoot this as it's coming in. It would be shooting this. It would be shooting these guys. But instead, it covers this road, which you've got somebody there anyway, and it would do that anyway from here. It would actually be better because it can shoot further. So yeah, that's the place to be. If the enemy plane comes, you just come hide. So, big shame there. Anyway, if you're Red, trying to push across this big open field, not fantastic. So you want to fight more around this, because this is also where your guys are. So yeah, hold this by all means, and hold this, and then hold this, and then with your guys here, you can start pushing back up here. But if you're trying to come over here, and come over here, and come over here, you're getting defeated in detail, basically. I think that's the right way of saying it. Anyway, additional plane purchase, right, because the Mirages, the other ones, you know. So that's one vet, and it also got hit. But it dodged 2, and okay, right. Maybe if it was at 2 vet, right. Anyway, presumably his opponent sees this now. Although it does have mediocre stealth. That is a very, very lucky Iltis Furung. And yeah, this guy, he's slowly... if he was here, that would be dead so long ago. It's a big shame. And then Red, yeah, he could have basically just spammed all his crap up here and taken this back. And then from here, you can come over here. And once you're up to here, then you help in this zone. So he could have fought like mainly on the left. But instead he's fighting everywhere. It taxes the micro. I mean, it's kind of working, right? He's sort of getting in everywhere. These are very, very effective tanks. Because of the autocannons, as you can see, really makes them quite... This was never getting there, basically, against the autocannon tank. F4FAT's back. It's come for the Sublinde. Will he smoke this time? No, and this time he's not so lucky, so 50% accuracy there, literally. So, this Panzer Grenadier, I mean... What? Okay. Yeah. So, AMX-30B2 is just sort of roving around. This is a really good game, actually. There's a lot of mobility. Generally, I suppose 5e is... I mean, I was saying before that you could just blob up here, and I do agree with that. But 5e is better at spreading out than 5th Panzer is because of the AA situation, the fighter situation, the speed of your units. So this is coming for the next AMX-30B, and the Zwillingers are a really great way of holding ground. So there you go, it hits again. Well, I don't know. I mean, clearly it's fired 4 missiles. I don't know what happened to the other 2. Maybe it did some missing. So rocket planes out. And that's going to get the Eclairs. And the Roland 2 fires 2 and then reloads because it's got 2 tubes. Although he's taken the wonderful decision to just sort of give him a fighting chance here and just fly over him. Gonna be back this way, you know. But yeah, the Mirage 3 wasn't out fast enough. Using that to strafe is pretty Pretty smart, but you're going to open yourself up to this row 3 here. Don't worry, you've got 2 vet, which means that you're going to dodge that because of your 8% additional ECM. It would have been funnier if he died there, but what can I say? So yeah, very spread out game. Blue clearly cares a lot more about this. Because I suppose he already owns this. I suppose he's putting people here now. And yeah, once you take ground as 5th Panzer, securing it with Zwillingers is very smart because they kill the infantry. Leopard 1s are quite useful as well as a sort of defensive gun thing. You do get ATGMs, Jaguar 2. It's quite expensive though, a bit slow. But yeah, so red behind on points, but you know, beginning to make some big gains on the ground compared to 5 minutes ago. But yeah, I think he should have come up here, right? Obviously, this little bit is kind of annoying. You sort of got to come around here, and he doesn't see what we see. But basically, you know, if you've got like a row 3 here, it's gonna, which you don't, but it's gonna cover all this. And these planes are just bullying the crap out of him. So here come the row 3s. But you'll notice that so one of the minstrels died crossing the road here. But you'll notice that, you know, so he's got a row 2 here. He's not really using these for anything. But yeah, so he needs a row 2 here because the ones that the row 3s here can't actually cover him there. And yeah, he's just losing a lot to these F4Fs, which have gained the 100% accuracy hack or something. These were moving, attack move, right, as we spoke about before. And you see that now this is attacking here, and there's only one AA piece here, whereas if you fight over a sort of, you know, narrower front line, then you can sort it out. So yeah, notmjblair's plane's doing really good work here. I'm not sure where that was going. Thankfully, it had 2 vets, so that dodged. And yeah, you see the power of the Zwillinger, right? The red team will eventually win this fight, but this is literally cheaper than any single one of these units. I think it was the same price, actually. And look, you know, takes a long time, right? Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he didn't use these. He could have used these, get these around to here or something, especially now that you've got the AA. Yeah. So, AMX 10 Hot P, as we spoke about, got hit. Smokes, leaves, right? Survives the hit. So yeah, row 3 is purchased now. And yeah, so he's aware of the fact that there's probably somebody in here, because there always are people in there. So there you go. So look, he's up here now. He's got the sort of longer range thing, so he's a bit further up. But look how useful that is. Like, the enemy basically needs a plane to deal with that. There's nothing else. I suppose like a hind or something deal with it, you know, a helicopter of some description. But basically this has to be a plane dealing with this. It's such a good spot. But yeah, if it's tank gun, it's got to be a bit closer. And yeah, it looks like MJ's going to get his comeuppance. But red's taken this zone. And here you see the power of the Zwillinger. Chasseurs attacks first. Oh, okay, well, looks like it's just running away instead of shooting, but whatever. Because it's on defensive by default, which I don't recommend. Well, it depends how much Warno you play. Basically, what defensive does is... This needs to be in the house, really. But he's given an attack move order, so he's not going to do it while he can shoot the enemy. It makes it so that if somebody shoots you and you can't see them, it will automatically smoke and reverse. So if you're not paying attention, it can keep your stuff alive, because it will just smoke and reverse while you're not looking. You're looking at something else. So it's useful in that regard, but the problem is that then you go to use your thing and it doesn't have smoke, and you know. But you know, I was talking a lot about APM before and saving APM for the things that matter. It's a shame that AMX 10 Hot missed a lot. Like, it is in a good spot, as we spoke about. If you're red in this situation, you wanna you know, own this, which he did at one point, but it was just a tank and it got blown up by a bad guy. Brennus here now should start cleaning this all up, really. Because the Leopard 1s aren't engaged. Good smoke there. Appalache is going to be the Panzer Grenadier, even though they're in the house, because it's a bigger squad, but also the VAB is helping. The Panzer Grenadiers are, because of the smoke, the Leopard 1s have been moved up now. So CV purchased. F4 FAT's back. You know, like we said, you need a plane. Rowan 3s are active, though, and there it goes. So, Rowan 3's doing something there. Mine don't do that. They just miss. But, yeah, so Red's now back in here, so he loses this. He's back in here. Very mobile game, especially given the size of the map. And frankly, that is sort of what Red's good at. Sort of what 5e is good at is the mobility. 5th Panzer can do it as well, but they kind of struggle with the lack of, their ASFs aren't as good, so it's kind of harder to cover yourself. And but yeah, the map's quite narrow, so your AA, like this, is covering basically the whole map, and it's not actually classed as that long a AA piece. That long range and AA piece. Anyway, the AMX-10 RC dies to a Leopard 1A5, so very good trade for Leopard 1A5. Zikrung's purchased now, and the Brennus is getting messed up by the Panzer Grenadier. The Lux is seen... so this is a big problem, actually, for Red, because these Rolands are going to be in trouble. Should probably do some reversing here. And the Brennus is just getting picked off by this very bad AT, but as we spoke about in the deck review, which you didn't skip, the power of AT, infantry AT in this game, means that basically it doesn't really matter what you've got. It's still going to do quite a bit. So there you go, AMX-10P goes down, finally. Wasn't actually a plane that got it, and now he's bought some artillery. With the transport, spoke about that in the deck review. I don't think it's smart, really. You get 1 extra unit for not bringing the self-propelled one. And, wow, yeah. And then your 1 extra unit then dies over the course of the game because you got to babysit this constantly or it gets counter-batteried. Hopefully it gets counter-batteried so I can say I was right. Anyways, Villinger, right? Spoke about the landmine effect, but as you can see, it's an anti-infantry platform, really. That's what it is. And there you go, AMX-10 goes down. I'm not sure plan is here. Would have been cool if it had hit. Anyway, next F4F-AT is coming around. I assume he must think that he got the Rolands. This should curve left now, and it does. Oh, I didn't even see that. But look, because this has 2 vet, whatever. Anyway, this was low cohesion, and this was like reversing and whatnot. So this is actually going to get out. Yeah, so Roland 2 kills that. These need to be in the forest, and now they are. And that Marder 1A2 Milan can't engage. Don't tell me he's tried that. It's literally got Apollos in the name. Oh, wow. Okay, well that was a weird route. He just came back because he was like, oh, I need to make sure Hippie is right. So that was a route that lasted like half a second or something. It's pretty RNG, the route system. Anyway, these high vet jets are missing a lot. But the 1 vet Roland is hitting a lot, so there you go. And total Leopard 1A5 death there. This does actually get out. Grenadier Voltigo Apollos, of course, kills the Marder. Jaguar AT with the 2 vet gets the side shot. Oh, actually, I think, does that die to a front shot anyway? I think it's got 16 armor. So it should die anyway. And you see the power of the commandos against the Pioneer Carl Gustav. AMX-30B2 gets outplayed by a cheaper tank. I suppose, there's 2 of them there. It must have been the ATGM and so on. So that was cool, but now he's dead. I mean, this could have also been brought up to here, I suppose. And this will now probably die because he's not got recon there, so he's not going to see it. And this is an Apollos, as we spoke about. Okay, so it misses, but he wasn't paying attention there, so does die. This is just out of range. This is out of rounds, so it can't do anything. Well, this can't actually be shot by ATGMs. Anyway, and Gucci Gang, he's finally managed to get back in here. So he will now clear out the CV, presumably, and he's got another CV coming. So +4 for not notmjblair. He's done well to reverse the the fact that this map is kind of red-sided. He sort of sorted that out by taking mid. This guy dives into the artillery there. Yeah, you see he's aiming for the right building there. But what that does mean is that if you teleport if you try and click out here, you'll sort of teleport a larger distance. He's got cover on, which is why it's just gravitating back to the house, I suppose. But yeah, once this gets up to here, that's going to be pretty big. Roland 3s have to move now, really. And this is flying over all the AA. But it's got 2 veterancies, so it'll dodge it. It actually does it that time. So, on balance, it does work. It's just generally, I just don't think it's worth losing an airframe for. Anyway, this is, very optimistic. And I think red, honestly, should just put one unit back here, AMX-10RC, and then all this should be coming up here, really, and up here. Like, this is just dying. It's very difficult to get back in here, in my opinion. Anyway, the commandos do get the Führungs, and here comes it. Right, so this is on an attack move order, so it stops just outside the zone there, and then narrowly dodges the Milan one. And yeah, the B2 PC is getting in there. Should be able to take out that other Marder. I suppose this can probably try and do it. So, a bit aggressive here with the Foxes. This should really be killing that. And, you know, this could be put here, and I'm pretty sure it might be able to shoot that Marder 1A to Milan. Roland has been revealed again. I mean, this should be a target, really. I suppose this is also important. And the Dragon Powers go down because this guy didn't just come out and shoot. Mirage, wow, so the 2-vet there dodges the AA with the 2 veterancy, with the extra evasion, and with the extra accuracy of 6%. Yeah, it survives. I was really hoped it would die. So there you go, so look, they can shoot across that with the LRAX. So this could have been there, right, but whatever, it worked out in the end. I mean, this Minstrel could be moved up to, like, this building. That would actually be really useful. This is very exciting. Not sure what the purpose of it is. And Blue, he's taken this back. He's coming over here now. And yeah, basically, you know, if the enemy's exposed like this, you don't just punch them constantly in the face and lose all you guys. You do what is being done now, where you take this, you literally just put something here. Well, okay, he's not getting in now, is he? Put a couple AA pieces up here, because you know he's going to be supporting the guys over here, right? Get a Jaguar 2 here. Uh-oh, nobody's... Pool's closed, right? Or you could just get a Leopard 2, I suppose it could probably shoot there. But yeah, there's been a... There's always this tendency to be like, you know, this is faster, this is faster, this is faster, and you just pile people in there and they all die. But he's recognised that now, right? AMX-10RC is getting good value, but it is about to die. It's been flanked. And, you know, the same is true of Red. So Red is like, I'm getting back in, and he just keeps running over here and dying. Whereas if he'd done what we spoke about, right, so yeah, from here to here, and then here to here, or even from here to here, which he's done with this, but like an infantry unit, right, get an infantry unit up there, get the Minstrel here, and that's very aggressive. That's very risky, really, and it's probably dead now. Maybe it should have been 2-vet. Sorry, I'll stop making that joke. But, yeah. He's put it on return fire so he doesn't just immediately get himself killed. But the Minstrel's probably not going to make... Oh, no, maybe. No, okay. Oh, wait, what? Okay, that was a bit weird. But yeah, okay. Anyway, sort of wised up a bit now. Jaguar AT's out. Gets one. What you can do with this, right, is put it at 2-vet so that it survives. Sorry, I gotta keep myself entertained somehow. But yeah, basically as soon as the missile's away and you know there's AA back here, you immediately evac it, and the missile will keep going, no problem, right? It doesn't need to be on the nose, it's not Broken Arrow, where that apparently does matter. At this point, MJ's probably wishing that this had a Carl Gustav. Wow. But yeah, sending tanks up into here, you know, never, I mean, it's working, but... if this was a Carl Gustav, it wouldn't be working. Another guy gets picked off there. So, pretty cool attack from Gucci Gang. It was a bit weird, right? And look at how many things Blue just lost. So he lost a bunch of stuff here as well. There was a lot more here that I think was getting picked off by 30 B2s. Commandos go down there, but yeah, this is a nightmare now for Blue, because look how far up he is. Look how far Red stuff is, and look where he's put it, so that it's a side shot. Because if it's here, it'll be a front shot, but here it's basically always going to be a side shot, because by the time it's aimed, it's here. Well, yeah, because that's where it died. And that's the side shot, so very smart positioning there. Also protects you a bit more from helicopters. 5th Panzer also doesn't have any helicopters with guns on them, apart from the the Huey the Huey that the Aufklärer can get. So there you go. Wow, Hippie was right again. I mean, it's not really something I thought about when I suggested that, but so Gucci Gang is on the +4. MJ is winning, but I think Gucci Gang is very much winning the trades right now. I mean, there's the big advantage of both of these divs is that they just can kind of poop out units for 40 minutes, no problem, and they just never really run out of anything. And both divs are like that. So it's very difficult to play against them because they're never really out of the game. They can just keep going, keep going, keep going. And so you see that, Red basically killed most of Blue's army, and it's back already. Here it comes. So, and the same can happen to Red, although, 3 mortars is a interesting investment. So, Bopar is good. Oh, the 2-vet, though. The 2-vet. The 2-vet. I hope you're learning something, viewers. Don't upvet your plays. It's just not worth it. Anyway, this is super fast, so if he pays attention, he should just be able to reverse straight away and survive. Attention is not being paid. Now, the disadvantage of the AMX-10 is that it's got 2 top armor, so it's a medium tank. Every medium tank in the game has 2 top armor except the T-72, because Warno is a game made in Belgrade, or whatever. They're still on holding fire, it is, but you can't tell when there's 2 things in here. So, this could have been here, right? This should have been here. It'd be shooting this. This would be dead. This would be dead, actually. So now firing its FAMAS. Okay, well, that's great, isn't it? Now you're going to get your friend killed as well, so... Hope it's worth it. Yeah, Grenadier Voltiger Apelas here is pretty cool. Because then you can put it here, and then you can bring your tank up to here, and he can't just run at the side of you again. That could also just be like a regular chasseurs or something. Red, additional CV purchased, and the smoke's coming in. It could have just done that with 1 more. I suppose he's sort of doing the same thing here. The thing is, right, you actually kind of want this to not be smoked, because they shouldn't be able to see it anyway. And then if the enemy infantry comes over the hill, you see it before it runs into the smoke and kills you. Bit aggressive there with the transports. Bit of habit for both players this game, really. Jaguar AT coming in from an oblique angle. No, it's not. Never mind. An AMX-10 hot here. Or where that, obviously the smoke's obscuring it. This is a really cool position. I spoke about this a bit. This has been such a wasted investment. I really do lament the fact that all this time he could have had 2 extra commandos on the field. How useful would it be to have 2 extra commandos here? And he'd have 90 extra points of whatever, which is like, what? A 3rd commando and a supply. But, they've just been sat there. Wants to make it fair for his opponent, I guess. But yeah, I mean, okay, so that is a pretty lucky M577 whatever. What I will say is that, Red is now free to bring a CV up into here. Doesn't have to rely on this corner. And, an AMX-30 B2 here can sort of cut down that kind of thing. This is going to be really, really funny. So this actually one-shots that on the side armor. It would one-shot a 7 armor vehicle on the side armor. So there you get to see the power of the group anti-char. Yep, that was the best tank Germany has to offer, 275 points. Right, at this point he should really be going for the AA. He survives because he's got 2 veterancy, unlike his friend who died. Oh, there he goes. And yeah, imagine if this was here. Looks like he's going to just drive into him. Anyway, it's hard to keep everything microed and so on. And they're fighting across basically 3 zones constantly, so it's easy for me to just sort of sit here and poke fun. But I mean, come on, I don't really have anything better to do. Well, what are you expecting? Tactical analysis? That's not what the Hippie YouTube channel is all about. At least I don't go around telling people 6th US is a competitive counterpick to 5th Panzer in tournaments. But anyway, that one slipped out. I don't want to start beef with anybody. Anyway, so this is the difficulty with smoking, is that people run in. So if you've got not a good anti-infantry squad, then you can have some problems. But yeah, there are 2 of them, right? Because it's got no machine gun, so the machine gun's like 2 rifles, right? So this shoots with the strength of 7 men, and this is the strength of 10 men. So, but now there are 10 men here, so there you go, problem solved. And the additional Marder 1A2s, you can just immediately remass, and this just didn't have the ammo, and this hasn't been healed up. And this wasn't in position yet. And yeah, it's like a supply could have been here. I don't know. The third mortar clearly isn't doing anything. And he's still not realised this. But yeah, this RT has been doing some good work, actually. But he's never tried to move it. And if, you know, any counter battery on that... Can even use like a Jaguar bomber, although with all these around I wouldn't recommend it. Anyway, this doesn't have AT. So that cost saving, you know, that happened all that time ago. If this had had a Carl Gustav, life would be a lot better for Red. Another thing you can do is smoke here and then put the CV here, and then the enemy will start RTing this constantly and you'll be fine. The Iltis here did get picked off by the chasseurs. Marder 1A2 Milan didn't have a particularly great time there against the two-group anti-chars. Still not realised he's got two commandos here. Really useful squads. Really good at holding zones and stopping games from being lost. Anyway, I'm really not sure what's going on here. What? What's going on there? I'm going to assume that the reason it's not shooting this is because it's low cohesion. This guy's really got to get up out of there. These guys, they don't have AT. So as long as it just focuses... But it's target switching. You see, it should have finished this, and then finished this, and then started shooting all these guys who can't hurt it. But instead, it's shooting at whoever's got the highest cohesion, which is why it keeps target switching like that. So... That's a really, really annoying part of the game. That's something that Broken Arrow does much better. AMX-30B2 goes down there, and it would not have gone down if he hadn't smoked. Because then he would have seen the enemy coming. First Jaguar HE on the field. These haven't moved, you know. I'm waiting for this to shoot. Do something. 7 minutes left on the board. It's been a constant action back and forth. Does Red have CVs left? We know that Blue has 9. Which I was saying is just massive overkill. The only other person I know who does that is Medi. And he just spends the whole game trying to sneak CVs into your backline. I lost my last game against him, so I suppose it's reasonable. But yeah, like these aren't counter-battering these aren't moving. This isn't firing, this isn't doing anything. Just so many wasted units, just, you know. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm sure if somebody checked my replays, they'd see some issues. You know, imagine if that had been at 2. So yeah, this is obviously not going to go particularly well. Imagine if this was here. It just shoot it in the side. I don't know. I feel like there's been a bit of wastage in this game. I suppose there always is. You know, I'm no perfect gamer. And it's difficult to fight here, and fight here, and fight here. And these guys, they're top players, right? Gucci Gang Hots, last time I saw him, he was ranked 30. And notmjblair, last time I played against him, he was ranked 15. So, there's loads of people with this name, though. I think it was this one, though. I think he's actually the original, even though he's called notmjblair. I don't really understand it. It must be some Zoomer thing. Maybe it's like a TV character or something, I don't know. Anyway, that goes down. Rocket plane gets dodged there. Yeah, you know, this could just be hiding here. And the Rolands, there's lots of Rolands now, so the planes, it all tends to be one-way trips. This is coming in for that Leopard 1, it misses, and then dies. You know, these haven't moved. This hasn't fired. These haven't moved. Yeah, you hate to see it, etc. And once again, a bit rough on the transports here, although he's done the tried and tested method of just running into it 7 times, so it runs out of ammo on the 7th time. Lots of ATGMs here. You know, like a Milan 2, this is a good spot for Milan 2. But also, you know, if this was just here, it would it's 1 HP, so I can understand why he doesn't want to do it, actually. Imagine if these were here. Wow. Anyway, Red Infantry, as we spoke about, both of these divs are just... I have infinite stuff. 40 minutes, they don't really seem to have run out of anything, apart from Red seems to have run out of CVs. Oh no, there's a P4 PC. And, yeah, it looks like there's been some death of Dragon Paras here in the transports, and he lost his stuff. Jaguar, double Jaguar hate, right, so this is where you go for the AA. You get them both on the AA pieces, which haven't been moving all game. And then, like, one goes for this one goes for that one, and so on. But he went for the CV, which, okay, but, you know, if you kill the AA, then you don't keep losing planes to it. If only that was a... Sorry, I'm not even say it. Well, I'm so reformed now. But yeah, the ATGMs are doing a lot of work here, actually. And there it goes. And this guy is going to get shot by the Rollins again. He's still not noticed he's got these here. This man still has rounds. He's been saving it all this time for this occasion. He's got 2 shots, so there's 2 targets. Infantry just running across the field now. This still hasn't fired. And, yeah, with 3 minutes left, I mean, it looks like it's going to be a draw. Because you need 100 points difference. Although, is this the clutch moment? Or will it just get to here and get shot by the Leopard too? Something you do need to keep in mind when you're pathing these. He's got lots of mortars for smoke. There we go, yeah. And you can move them between volleys, which is why you get the self-propelled one. Otherwise, there's no advantage to it. Both sides doing the desperate smoke play. This man had 9 CVs and is now lacking a CV. Both of those Zickrungs were taken out. You see those burning wrecks there. Panzer Grenadiers, you know, the AT is really not so bad, actually. Simply because all infantry AT is decent. Apart from that Belgian one. Is this going for the AA? No, it's not. Okay. And, okay, so MJ, he's realised now, oh man, I need to stop this. So he's going for Bravo. This was actually taken out before it could drop. So this is a big problem now. He's gone back the other way. Is that his last CV? Because like, he could have just bought another one for this and kept going. Rocket plane gets taken out by the Roland, which then dies, but I think it did its job. Smoking has ran out. They've run out of rounds. And this, yeah, this could have been like another CV coming this way, and this could have gone that way or something. These Zickrungs don't have AT, so... Although they, I mean, this is a little truck, so it will basically be able to sort it out. This has ran out of Appalachian, so it won't actually be able to deal with this. And I think Red has expended all his planes and so on. Leopard 1, not so good against helicopters, because it's not got a 50 cal on it, or an, you know, KPV or NSV or whatever. Oh, but the P4PC is probably going to die to the artillery. And down it goes, which means that MJ can now secure this. And that should stop the tick. And then he needs points, because he's past the 100 threshold here. But if he just sort of fast paths this down, I mean, he obviously doesn't know that this is out of ammo, well, presumably. But yeah, he needs more points now. He did bring 9 CVs, but he was very, very wasteful with them. This is out of rounds. Looks like he's just running into the enemy just to mark a target, presumably for a plane or whatever. He's still not noticed he's got these. The Alf 1 died before it ever shot anything. And this man desperately needs to, yeah, he's going for it. He's got the mortars. He's got the artillery. You know, you smoke here, smoke here. The mortars aren't in range. And, you know, with 50 seconds left, he's got 50 seconds. And then he can make it a draw. He needs 40 points to make it a draw. I don't think he's got time to make it a win. But it really, I mean, if this has to stop for basically any reason, it's not going to make it. The Milan 2s are getting taken out, though. All those helicopters died. He's realised the commandos are here to save the day. It's got a free path. 20 seconds to get 40 points with a +2. It takes time to cap the zone. I think Red's out of planes. No, I don't think he's going to make it. I mean, he's fast pathing, as fast as he can path. These really should have just dropped here. But maybe he didn't see it. Because look, I think he's not going to get in range if this just keeps fast pathing. He's coming in with the super pure. Oh, well, he's out of time. If it had been like 20 seconds longer, it would have been a draw. But yeah, that was a very funny game, actually. I enjoyed that a lot. And these two, they're both very high ranked players. He's actually lost a lot of rank recently. Just rank 30 last time I saw him. This guy's lost quite a bit of rank as well. He was rank 15 last time I saw him. But there were, you know, mistakes on both sides. But you know, I make mistakes. It's just those videos never end up on the internet. I thought that was a really fun game. But yeah, I don't know. Just like this would have died because he wasn't moving it or anything. He was waiting to get counter batteried before he started moving it, which, I mean, you find out when you're dead. And if you've only got 2 of them. So, yeah. And then, yeah, what can I say? I think it was a bit wasteful for both players, but these kind of meta divs, they do sort of enable you to make a lot of you can just try, you know, well, just send waves in for the whole game, both of them. You don't really run out of stuff. Yeah, GG.